Hello and welcome back to Fren Recaps. Today I'll talk about a German romantic drama film released in 2014. Before beginning the film, make sure to subscribe and like this video. Spoiler alert. The film begins with a 16-year-old girl named Lee. She is in Oslo with her father for a business trip. Lee's father is the CEO of a large multinational corporation. As a result, they must travel extensively throughout the world. The following day, Lee's father is at work. Lee arrives and inquires as to what her father is up to. Her father responds that he is preparing a sales pitch for today's company meeting in order to secure the contract for his firm. Lee's father informs her that this contract is critical to his company. Lee asks if she can accompany him to the meeting. Lee's father informs her that she is too young to attend a business meeting and instructs her to remain in the room and not leave. Lee quips sarcastically, "Would you like it if she ran away with a drug dealer?" Lee's father responds that he dislikes such jokes. Also, inquire about Lee's appearance. Lee compliments him and adjusts his shirt slightly. Her father is worried because this is a big deal. He must obtain this contract for his business. Lee's father departs for his appointment. Lee later showers and changes into some casual clothes. She exits the room and goes to the hotel lobby to explore the property. Despite the fact that her father had specifically instructed her to remain in the room, Lee took a few water bottles and began walking back to her room. A middle-aged man enters the elevator and unintentionally touches Lee while pressing his floor button. Lee is lovely and young. She's chewing gum like a neophyte. The man in the elevator is staring at her all the time. He's also pretending to be on the phone. After a brief moment, that man's floor is reached and he exits the elevator. He returns his gaze to Lee after a few steps. The elevator door closes at that point. Lee returns to her room. Her father is already in the room, she notices. Her father is furious with Lee because he had told her not to leave the room. In his rage, Lee's father utters some harsh words, while Lee pays attention to him and apologizes. After some time, her father calms down and hugs Lee, telling her that he loves her, and she is his sole family member. Lee, too, becomes emotional and depressed. Lee's father eventually tells her to get ready for dinner. Lee requests her father's white shirt so that she can also appear to be a businessman. While still changing her shirt, Lee inquires about the business meeting and her father's contract with the other company. Her father compliments her on her businesswoman appearance and dismisses her inquiry about the business meeting. Lee's father invites her to join him for dinner and to accept the contract from the company. The scene changes. Lee's father and Lee are both present at the dinner party, where Lee's father encounters a man named Christian. Christian is introduced to Lee by Lee's father, who informs her that he is the purchasing manager from the other side. However, Lee recognizes him right away from the elevator. Christian is asked to speak privately with Lee's father for 2 minutes. Lee's father tells her that he will be right back. Lee tells him to get the contract from him slowly. Meanwhile, Lee meets the other partygoers, while her father is conversing with Christian. When Lee turns to face her father, he's having a disagreement with Christian. It appears that Lee's father is requesting something from Christian. When Christian had gone, Lee comes to her father because he appears to be upset. Lee inquires about her father's conversation, if she can assist him in any way. Lee's father leaves the room sarcastically saying, "If you can get me the contract, go get it for me." Lee is depressed after witnessing her father's distress. Lee sobs her way out of the hotel. She notices Christian sitting there smoking. Christian inquires whether Lee enjoys the city of Oslo. Lee responds that there is nothing unique about this city. Christian claims that it is at least better than Copenhagen. Lee gives a small smile and says she has never been to Copenhagen. Christian stands up, removes his scarf, and hands it to Lee. Christian claims that because it is too cold here, she may become ill. Lee takes the scarf without saying anything. Christian inquires as to where she resides. Lee explains that her father's business requires her to move around frequently. She is, however, from New Zealand. Her father was born here. Christian inquires if she is lonely as a result of her constant travel. Lee wisely states that meeting new people in new places makes her happy. Christian is impressed with her response. Meanwhile, Christian is revealed to be the man who can secure Lee's father's contract. Because Christian is the other company's purchasing manager, Lee returns Christian's scarf and enters the hotel. We'll later see a meeting between two businesses. We see Lee's father, Lee, and Christian here. Lee's father is attempting to persuade Christian to award him the contract. Christian, on the other hand, is uninterested in the conversation and keeps staring at Lee. Meanwhile, Lee is not at ease because Christian is sitting next to her. Slowly, Christian touches Lee's legs. Lee remains silent and drinks a glass of water while staring at Christian. She is, however, experiencing unusual feelings. Lee turns to face her father. He notices everything but says nothing other than a smile. Lee is taken aback to see her father not even attempting to stop Christian. Lee's father and Lee leave the hotel after the meeting. Lee tells her father that she thinks Christian is strange. Lee's father smiles and asks why she thought that. That is how all business people are. They are all honest and do things freely. After a while, Lee's father requests that she return inside. Lee informs him that she wishes to go to her room. Lee's father, on the other hand, ignores her and drags her to the party. Everyone at the party is drinking and having a good time. Christian approaches Lee and requests a dance. She hesitates briefly before beginning to dance with him. After a while, Lee becomes acquainted with Christian. She looks at her father and invites him to join her in the dance. Lee's father declines and tells her to enjoy herself. Lee is taken aback to see her father because he has never given her so much freedom. Christian transports Lee to the opposing side of the party. While Lee is thinking, she looks at her father. Why isn't her father intervening? Christian, meanwhile, is dancing with Lee and attempting to touch her body. Lee begins to feel at ease with Christian. Lee is constantly staring at her father. Lee's father is having fun with other women while not looking at Lee. His father's behavior astounded her. Because her father is strict and never allows her to speak to strangers, Christian begins kissing Lee while dancing at that point. Lee returns her gaze to her father. Her father returns her gaze and exits the bar. Her father appears to want her to have sexual relations with Christian. Lee is perplexed by her father's actions. Meanwhile, Christian removes Lee from the bar. Lee doesn't understand anything and follows Christian to his room quietly. Christian gives Lee some alcohol to drink in the room. While standing in front of a window, Lee begins to drink. Her heart rate is increasing. Christian appears from behind her and begins kissing her neck. They eventually become intimate and play 1 versus 1. Christian exits the room after the session, while Lee sits in silence. Nothing makes sense to her. Why did Christian walk away without saying anything? Lee later returns to the party. Lee looks for her father and, after some time, finds him. She notices her father conversing with Christian. Lee notices her father and Christian conversing politely. She is surprised because they were arguing just a few hours ago. Christian and Lee's father appear to be celebrating something. Lee believes her father may have gotten the contract. However, she isn't sure how to proceed following her session with Christian. Her father was awarded the contract. She comprehends the entire narrative. She eventually went to her father. He's drinking with his buddies. Lee pours himself a drink. Lee's father whispers in her ear that he has gotten the contract. At that point, Lee is certain that her father used her to obtain the contract. Lee takes a look at Christian. Christian, on the other hand, is ignoring her and not looking back. Lee's father joins in the celebration. Lee begins to cheer and tells her father at that point, "Excellent work, Dad." Her father is taken aback by her behavior and informs her that she is drunk and instructs her to return to her room. She, on the other hand, does not listen to her father. Lee unexpectedly kisses Christian in front of everyone. Her father restrains her. Lee tells him to get out and walks out of the room. Lee's father apologizes to everyone for her daughter's actions and then go after Lee. Meanwhile, Lee is pulling over a taxi. Lee's father appears and attempts to give Lee his coat. Lee is enraged and pushes him away. Lee begins to cry as her father tries to console her. Lee understands why her father allowed her to dance. Why did he bring her to the party? Her father had agreed to let her have sexual relations with Christian in exchange for a contract. She informs her father that she is returning to Denmark tomorrow. She begins to flee because her father has betrayed her trust. Her father claims that "you are my only family." Lee is depressed and sobs. However, she does not stop and continues to cry in the taxi. She walks away, leaving her father alone behind. The film concludes here. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Like and follow for more. See you again soon. Take care.